A1 Pictures, you guys did a tremendous job with this episode of Taizai. This was an amazing episode. I have been shitting on you for the past couple of weeks because of Taizai, where you have not adapted it good for the first half, but this anime is finally starting to pick up again, and I am glad it is because I was binging the manga, and it is amazing, and to see the manga finally get adapted properly in this half of its life cycle is finally telling me that they're gonna end it properly. So this episode actually adapted a couple chapters perfectly. There weren't no fillers at all in this episode, which was amazing. As for animation wise, we did not see any derpy art or animation in this episode as much as the last episode, which tells me that A1 is probably going to be putting all their budget into Taizai and Fairy Tail, because we already know they put their budget to Fairy Tail, but it looks like they'll be splitting the budget now between Taizai and Fairy Tail, because it looks like Taizai is getting a budget increase for this by getting better animation. And this episode kind of tells me that yeah, it'll get a better budget for this, because this episode was animated beautifully. Obviously we did have some derpy animations and art styles, but it was only a couple times we saw it through this episode, and it wasn't that bad actually. But dude, this episode, we have Gira and Hauser protecting Diane, going up against Jericho, Dreyfus, and Helbram, and then having Gowther come out of nowhere, only to having to go one-on-one with Dreyfus. That is fucking badass. I never really saw Gowther as a threat until this episode, but Gowther can actually be a really dangerous opponent. Not only did he get sliced through the chest, he had a hole through his chest. A huge hole was blasted through him from Dreyfus' sword, only for Gowther to seal him in a nightmare. And this characterization for Dreyfus was amazing, because we got to see what really happened to Gilthunder's father, the Chief Holy Knight. And it was actually Dreyfus, Gilthunder's brother, who killed him. So that uncovers a mystery on how he died and who killed him. And the fact that this episode didn't really focus on Elizabeth, Meliodas, or Ban made it all the better, because we finally get to see some more character development for Diane, Gira, Hauser, even King. Oh my god, the fight King had in here, I'll get to that right now. So what happened with King and Dreyfus, he had some amazing character development here also, where we got to see his backstory. But on to King, like I said, King ends up finding Diane all butchered up. She's gone and stabbed multiple times. Helbram has even stabbed her with a huge icicle, I kind of want to say. It's a huge icicle that stabs through her stomach, and I thought they were going to censor this, but they didn't. Props to you, A1, for not censoring that. So King finds her all bloodied up, immediately points to Hauser or Gira, claiming they did it. Once Diane tells him it wasn't them, King just started breaking down crying while punching Hauser's armor, to the point where his knuckles started bleeding. You can actually see the skin broken. Oh my god, that was terrible to watch. King didn't even care about that. He just cared that they didn't protect Diane enough. And when King started fighting Helbram again, we actually see Helbram's true form, because Helbram can turn into that little person with the helmet, and he looks like he's wearing a red beard or little red outfit. That's not his actual true form. Helbram is actually a fairy, who was actually King's best friend. If that's not bad enough, Helbram is one strong motherfucking fairy. Like King, he can control a weapon, but instead of using his sword like King has his chesticle, he uses trees, like the roots of a tree, as a weapon. And with these roots, he almost killed Diane, Hauser, and Gira at the same time. But King did not care for his own safety and got in the way of the attack, and before Helbram can actually kill Diane and everyone else, King's chesticle actually makes a shield around them. And that's when Meliodas and Ban realize Diane and Gowther's magic are fading, whereas King's magic is on a whole new level. Compared to the other 7 deadly sins, King has to be by far the weakest in terms of physical strength. So he kind of reminds me of Krillin, whereas Krillin knows he'll die, but still will put his life on the line to protect his friends, which is the same thing King did here. He almost died, I'd have to say, taking all those blows from Helbram, but still used none of his magic to protect himself, and used it all to protect Diane, which was amazing character development here that I am glad they adapted properly. If they did not adapt this properly, I would have dropped the damn anime again, because I recently picked it up, only to give it a second chance, and I am glad they're adapting it properly. And just like every anime in this season ending, it ends with a cliffhanger. I am hating these cliffhangers. If I was an anime only watcher, I would flip out on these cliffhangers because I flipped out when I read this. I was binge reading it on my phone during class, and I flipped out in the middle of class, literally, during that cliffhanger. Everyone gave me a weird look, and I'm like, what? I don't give a fuck. Cliffhangers, I hate that shit. And to have the cliffhanger here, oh god, it is breaking me because I really want to see the rest of this adapted. Especially the backstory for King and Deanne and Helbram. If they adapt that, it's gonna be probably the most beautiful episode of Taizai yet. This has been the best episode of Taizai yet since the last episode. The last episode was good, but it had a lot of derpy animations. This episode, dude, a lot of it was adapted good. Good animation, good art, not as many derpy stuff in this shit as last week's or the first half of the anime for that sort. So A1, I applaud you for finally adapting this anime well. It deserves a good adaptation. And that just leaves me thinking that it'll probably end around chapter 100, I kind of want to say, or maybe even before that. If they adapt it properly, then the perfect place to end this is chapter 100. So that's about it for this review. What did you guys think of this episode of Taizai? Did you think it was good? I hope you did because this episode was amazing. Or did you think it was not? If you didn't, okay, that's your opinion, and I respect it. Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.